told your friend you're not okay.
She only has 16 posts so far. 16. That is not a typo. That is not a creator who went quiet after a scandal, not someone who had their account wiped, not a page that got reset after a privacy scare. That is a young woman from El Salvador who walked into one of the most competitive arenas on the internet, with barely a grid to her name, and somehow convinced 250,000 people to stop scrolling and pay attention. Her name is Lisbeth Vega. Online, she goes by at lisbeeeethh. And the story of how she built what she built with so little content and so much impact is one of the most quietly remarkable stories in the current creator economy. Stay with us, because by the end of this video you are going to look at social media and the women who dominate it very differently. Lisbeth Vega was born in El Salvador, a small but fiercely proud Central American nation tucked between Guatemala and Honduras on the Pacific coast. El Salvador is a country that has given the world extraordinary resilience, a people shaped by decades of hardship, migration, and the kind of grit that you cannot manufacture. It is a country where women grow up understanding that the world will not simply hand you a seat at the table. You have to build the table yourself. At some point in her life, Lisbeth's path led her to Los Angeles, California, a city that is simultaneously the most glamorous and the most brutal proving ground for anyone who wants to be seen. Los Angeles is where beautiful people go to disappear. Models, influencers, aspiring actresses, they arrive by the thousands every single year, Instagram feeds polished to a mirror shine, convinced that this is the year everything changes. The city welcomes them warmly, then quietly watches most of them fade. The ones who survive, the ones who actually build something lasting, tend to share one trait above all others. Not the best lighting, not the highest production budget. Authenticity, the willingness to show up as exactly who they are, unapologetically and without compromise. Lisbeth showed up that way, and Los Angeles took notice. Before Instagram became her primary stage, Lisbeth was building an audience on TikTok under the handle at lisbeeeethh01, posting dance videos and lip-sync content, the kind of short-form creative expression that TikTok was built for. It was there that she first began accumulating a following, growing to over 270,000 followers on the platform. That number alone tells you something critical. She was not a product of a single viral moment. She was a product of consistency, personality, and a magnetic screen presence that translated across formats. People who watched her dance on TikTok sought her out on Instagram. People who found her on Instagram followed her to Facebook. The audience she built was not passive, it was actively loyal, platform to platform, post to post. And that loyalty became the foundation of everything. If you are new to this channel and you enjoy deep dives into the real stories behind the creators and public figures shaping our culture, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We are going to keep coming back to stories exactly like this one, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Now let us talk about the body positivity piece of Lisbeth Vega's story, because it is not incidental to her success. It is the entire engine of it. For the better part of the last century, the fashion and media industries operated with a very specific and very narrow vision of what a woman's body should look like. You know the archetype: thin, angular, sample size ready. That was the standard. That was the gate between irrelevance and visibility. And for generations of women whose bodies did not conform to that standard, women with curves, with full figures, with hips and waists and proportions that the industry labeled as too much, the message was loud, consistent, and devastating: you do not belong here. Lisbeth Vega received that message and, by every indication, decided it did not apply to her. Her content is unapologetically sensual and unapologetically confident. She does not contort herself into poses designed to minimize. She does not filter herself into something softer or smaller. She does not caption her photos with self-deprecating disclaimers or weight loss journey updates. She shows up in her body like she owns every inch of the frame, because she does. The curvy Instagram model lane that she occupies is one that has been slowly but powerfully reshaping what the internet considers beautiful, and Lisbeth did not just participate in that shift. She helped drive it. And the response from her audience confirmed exactly what she already knew. People do not want a fantasy they cannot relate to. They want someone real. Someone who looks like them, moves like them, carries confidence the way they wish they could. Someone who makes them feel like their body is not a problem waiting to be solved. That is the quiet revolution Lisbeth Vega is part of, and it is making her very significant money. Let us get into the business side now, because that is where this story gets genuinely impressive. 235,000 followers on Instagram. That number places Lisbeth firmly in what the industry classifies as the macro-influencer tier, creators with between 100,000 and 500,000 followers. At that level, industry data consistently shows that a single sponsored post commands anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, depending on niche engagement rate and the specific brand involved. That is not hypothetical. That is the market rate documented by influencer marketing platforms across the board. But here is where Lisbeth's situation becomes particularly powerful. Follower count is only half of the equation that brands actually care about. The metric that truly moves brand budgets, the number that separates influencers brands will fight over from influencers brands ignore, is engagement rate. Engagement rate measures how actively an audience interacts with content: likes, comments, saves, shares. The average Instagram engagement rate across the platform sits somewhere between 1 and 3%. Most macro influencers, people with hundreds of thousands of followers, fall within or below that range because larger audiences tend to be more passive. Lisbeth's engagement rate, according to analytics data from Hypoditor, sits at nearly 7%. Nearly 7%. That is more than double the threshold that industry experts consider exceptional and more than twice what most creators at her follower tier ever achieve. What that number tells a brand is not just that people are following her, it tells them that her audience is actively engaged, genuinely trusts her, and is far more likely to act on her recommendations than the passive millions who follow a creator and never interact with a single post. In the influencer economy, that level of trust is the most valuable commodity that exists, and Lisbeth has it in abundance. Beyond Instagram, her Facebook page has accumulated over 400,000 likes, an entirely separate audience running parallel to her Instagram following, multiplying her reach and her desirability to advertisers who want sustained cross-platform exposure. She also maintains an active presence on Threads with over 34,000 followers, adding yet another engagement layer on top of everything else. And on TikTok, where her journey arguably began, she continues to hold a following in the tens of thousands. This is not a one-platform creator. This is a multi-platform media presence. And brands have responded accordingly. Lisbeth has been publicly linked to Fashion Nova, one of the single most aggressive and most successful influencer marketing machines in the entire fashion industry. Fashion Nova built its billion-dollar empire almost entirely through Instagram collaborations, working with thousands of creators across every follower tier. For a creator at Lisbeth's level, 235,000 followers, nearly 7% engagement, a fiercely loyal audience in a high-demand demographic, a Fashion Nova partnership represents real, substantial income. Industry estimates for sponsored posts at her tier start at $1,000 per post and frequently climb to $5,000 and beyond when reels, stories, and extended campaign packages are factored in. If you have made it this far into the video and you are finding this story as fascinating as we do us a favor right now, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people discover stories like this one, and it takes about 2 seconds. We appreciate every single one of you watching. Brand sponsorships, however, are only one layer of Lisbeth Vega's income architecture. The second is affiliate marketing, and this is where her link bio page becomes a critical piece of the puzzle. Her link in bio serves as a curated gateway, routing her audience to products, platforms, and services. Every click that converts into a purchase generates a commission for Lisbeth, typically ranging from 5 to 30% of the sale value, depending on the brand and the affiliate agreement. For a creator with her engagement numbers and her audience size, affiliate commissions stack into meaningful passive income on top of whatever she earns from active brand campaigns. She does not have to post anything new for that money to keep moving. The link sits there and her audience keeps clicking. The third income stream is subscription content. Her bio links out to a fan platform, indicating that a portion of her income comes directly from fans who choose to pay for exclusive access. For creators in Lisbeth's lane, curvy, confident, lifestyle-forward content, subscription platforms represent some of the most direct and often most lucrative monetization available. The audience that follows a creator like Lisbeth tends to be deeply invested. They are not casual scrollers. They are fans, and fans pay. Industry data shows that subscription platform income for creators of her profile can range from several hundred to several tens of thousands of dollars per month, depending on pricing, exclusivity, and subscriber retention. Even at the conservative end, that is a meaningful and recurring revenue stream that operates entirely independently of brand deal cycles or algorithm changes. Put it all together: Fashion Nova partnerships, cross-platform brand campaigns, affiliate commissions, subscription income, Facebook page monetization. And you are looking at a creator who is very plausibly generating 6 figures annually from a social media presence built on fewer posts than most people's vacation photo albums. Industry benchmarks for macro influencers with high engagement rates at her follower tier consistently point to annual earning potential in the range of $50,000 to well over $100,000. And that is before accounting for the subscription layer, which can be the single largest income driver for creators in her niche. 16 posts, a potential 6-figure income, built on confidence, authenticity, and the radical decision to show up exactly as she is. What Lisbeth Vega represents is not just a personal success story, though it is certainly that. She represents something bigger, the ongoing, irreversible shift in what our culture recognizes as aspirational. For decades, the bodies that sold products, landed magazine covers, and filled campaign ads were selected from the narrowest possible slice of human diversity. That era is ending. Not because the industry suddenly developed a conscience, but because the audience demanded something different, and creators like Lisbeth Vega gave it to them. They built their own stages. They monetized their own images. They proved with receipts that the old gatekeepers did not have to be invited to the party. And the numbers tell the rest of the story. Lisbeth Vega is still early in her career. Her Instagram grid, remarkably sparse by influencer standards, suggests that the full scale of her ambition has not yet been revealed. Whatever she has built with 16 posts, imagine what she builds with 60, or 160. The foundation is already there: the audience, the trust, the brand relationships, the multi-platform footprint. What comes next is entirely up to her. And if the last few years have taught us anything about Lisbeth Vega, it is that she tends to exceed every expectation. If you want more stories about the creators, influencers, and public figures reshaping culture from the outside, and subscribe to this channel right now. We are releasing new videos every week, and the stories we have coming up are ones you genuinely do not want to miss. Drop a comment below telling us who you want us to cover next. We read every single one, and we will see you in the next one.